recording.
Okay. All right. You're gonna get pissed off, Germans.
Well, I figure you pissed him off,
Awesome.
so we
Alright,
can just be
started
there.
The trend.
Hello,
Yeah.
Germans.
Let's open over here, and we see we've got a little bit of an audience as well. If you see somebody over there waving, that is Mr. Derek Whitacre, who is
Derek.
sitting in
Live
watching
studio
today.
audience
We have a
is
live
what this
studio
is.
audience today.
You're our first studio audience.
Wow,
Very
look at
cool.
that.
So much responsibility.
Good job, man.
You need the laugh.
Welcome,
Sorry.
applause,
Right,
sure.
Applause machine.
Ah.
It's a machine, right?
We
No,
don't
no,
can
sign.
laugh
We
over
don't can
here,
laugh, right. It's
sir.
all-
We know comedy.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Today is
Professional
Friday, March 2nd. This is an unscheduled taping. We do not normally do a show on Friday. We're normally at Breakfast Club on Friday.
Is this actually
However,
going to air today?
well, I think we should put it up today. I think,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
I mean, why
look at
not?
that. Heck
We
yeah.
or we can bank it, but right now I'm treating it as though it's today.
I'm excited about that.
And so what happened to us all this morning was sort of a crazy situation, and we've all amassed, and we're all here together. So, Mrs. Ryan, who are we here with?
Just go
Put me on
dirt.
the spot.
Durr.
The guy, Durr, his JP.
Nice work.
I pulled it out.
Wow, she got that. She pulled.
JP's hat probably should tell you something about him if you don't recognize him already. But this
one would
is
you?
producer John from Der Faszination videos. And welcome,
Thank you.
brother. How
Thanks
are
for
you? Good
having
to
me,
see you here.
guys. I'm
Thanks
so
for being
excited
here,
to,
yo.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
Wow.
It's so cool to have you in our home.
Well, you guys have just been murdered. I can't believe how long you've been doing this.
1
A
month.
month?
A month.
Yeah,
You
a month
have
yesterday.
gajillions of episodes already, and it's like
It's
I
the
feel
weekly.
like it's been on forever. Like
It's-
it's just a thing now.
We're like that sitcom.
Yeah.
Just on.
It's just on, and if you don't know what it is, you're just I'm just excited to be here.
You're
And,
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
and,
Well, that means you must have at least seen a few, and that
I
means
have.
the world. Yeah, we're doing it daily.
Yeah.
I grew up a Letterman fan. Like just the Daily Show, the grind of doing
Yeah.
it, sort of to me is kind of interesting, sort of. And it's I don't know, whatever.
It
It would
lets
go on
shit
forever,
happen.
but
we
that's
don't
why we have.
plan everything out, so
Yeah.
we're doing it every day. Like shit happens. Like this morning, when I literally sat in the car the whole way back, going. Yesterday, I was like, just drive slow. It's fine, and it was. The conditions weren't amazing, but they were fine.
Yeah.
Then we got up there, and Breakfast Club had to be moved to a new location.
So what happened today was we normally do our Friday Breakfast Club, which most of you know at Newcomb's Ranch, up on Angeles Crest. And everyone was talking about there's going to be snow and the conditions are going to be bad. And I was saying, I'm looking at the forecast. We talked about it on the podcast yesterday. Looking at the forecast, guys, it's going to be like 40s, maybe even 50 and rainy. So yeah, it's going to be wet, but whatever. There's not going to be snow. And
The
the
week
professor
before was
worried
in the
about,
30s, and it was
We drove
legit
through
snowy and gravel-filled snow.
We drove up through snow and ice. Derek
Yeah.
got halfway there. It got to Mount Wilson, and
like,
you
"Peace
turned
out."
around with your R compound tires. But meanwhile, we had a lovely breakfast club last week with a ton of people there. And then today we get up, conditions fine, Newcomb's closed.
Tons of people.
Womp womp.
You can
Boop, boop,
squarely
boop.
blame the professor for that.
Yeah?
Yeah, that
For
is
his
absolutely
mojo?
fault. Yeah, no. If he
I can say
planned-
thanks to the professor
Yeah.
for talking about. He's really a lovely guy. I got something in my throat.
Are you sure?
Did you need to apply something? And
Yeah.
That's a little. It's a little
I don't
thing.
get it.
Maybe we'll talk about that later.
Oh,
Ointment. There was Professor. Whenever he plans something, I mean, you could never say, okay, it's Los Angeles. Let's pick 5 rainy days over the course of the next year. Just go ahead and predict the 5 days that are going to rain.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Professor
Just
runs.
which day is
The
going to be
Oscars?
the
Oh,
professor
that's
run? Yeah, or I guess yeah.
It was always
it's
the
one
day
of those,
before
yeah.
Lufka Colt and the
Yeah.
rain, and wasn't it was on his run with one of your videos with the I can't remember his name, but you knew him. Yeah, right. Oh, well, Derek too. There you go.
Yeah, DT.
DT.
DT. Yeah, Tandy Salad Chai. Exactly.
And was that in the rain as well?
Oh man, if you thought today was that day that was the disaster run. That wasn't the
Professor run?
Professor run. I mean, that was the first half of that day may have been like the most magnificent driving day ever. I had a grin from ear to ear. driving our cars. We're just having a blast. And we got like halfway through the run and the fog came in. And, you know, at the furthest possible point away from civilization, you know, rocks are falling and people, and it was just carnage. I came with our friends from Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. They brought a slant-nose turbo 930. They trucked it in, brought it out because they were going to bring it to Luftgekühlt. So they had this gorgeous car. And he hits a boulder like the size of this thing, and it takes it out. We don't know what. I think it caused a problem. Yeah.
Something,
so they had to pull over. It caused a mechanical problem. So they had to pull over and leave it there. And then another guy in a slant nose lost the nose of his car.
All from debris.
All from debris from that road. And then when we got to Newcomb's Ranch, we're waiting around. We're like, oh, yeah, you know, there's still a lot of people there. Where the hell are they? And we were going to show some DF films there. We had the whole plan, but no one was there. And then DT walks in, and he's got this look. He's like, it's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. I'm like, what are we talking? The mole or what? Oh, you know, your car. And it was, yeah, he stuffed it into the boulder that Paul hit was maybe as big as this, but the boulder that Derek DT successfully avoided was about as big as this table.
That's what he said, and I thought it was an exaggeration.
No, it was huge. It was a big
That's
old
not
rock.
a boulder.
Yeah,
That's like a slab
yeah, it was a hunk of rock,
metal iceberg.
So it was the guy in front of him went one way. If he had followed the guy in front of him, he'd have probably crashed into him because that guy was having trouble keeping it together. So he chose the inside track, and there was a guardrail there.
Yeah, well,
but it's probably better than hitting that rock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or what's on the other side of the guardrail.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw Sid yesterday morning at the
Sierra Madre
Sierra
Collection
Madre
open house.
Wow,
Yes!
look at you. But seeing Sid
Dedicated.
for the first time after going almost off, you know, he hit a guardrail on that run, the Wendy run.
He seems to be in decent spirits about it.
He did.
He always is such a good temperament.
That guy's a nice guy. I met
He's
him.
such a
Yeah,
nice
he's,
guy. Yeah, and he just walks up and he's like, well, no. I'm going to get it back, and it's going to be better than it was before, and everything's going to be like he's just such a peaceful, awesome dude. Yeah. And he's just like, well, and now I'm gonna put better rubber on it. Yeah. And it's like he's all methodical. He's already got it worked out, so it's already fixed. You know, whatever.
Hopefully he'll get it back more quickly than DT gets his car.
5 years from now, it'll be my white car.
I meant to tell you. Do you know Tony Benton or John Benton? No, John Benton is doing the motor work, I think, on it.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty cool. I don't understand why or how, but he was.
He's got a 6-cylinder guy now.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it didn't quite make sense to me. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
So this morning got moved over to Patty's.
Oh, look at you coming back. Thank you so
Brings
much.
it back, man.
So with that, Newcomb's Ranch closed.
First time ever.
We're sitting up
Thanks for
there
being
for
here.
Snap it.
Derek and we and Eugene, who I just met for the first time today.
Blue car.
Yeah, gray maybe?
Sure.
993 turbo though. Yeah, pretty car.
Very pretty.
Yeah, we're just sitting up there yelling at Danny through the window, thinking she might be able to hear us in the back, thinking they would open for us and just fry up some some hash browns or something and some coffee. But that didn't happen. She did open the door and say, "Yeah, we're not open. Sorry."
Go away.
So we started to go down the hill. Wow, we then started to amass all of the people, all of the different Porsche run groups that were meeting us up there today for the breakfast club of all breakfast clubs.
So, well, since everyone's in town for the really fancy
Yeah, it's like
everything
Porsche
this
week.
weekend,
Lit show.
it was really nice for y'all to come out, and it was super nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad we got the drive-in.
Yeah, that was a fun drive.
Truthfully,
Yeah, I'm glad we
It
went
is
anyway
one
to
of my
have the
favorite
drive.
parts of the day, like
Yeah.
the experience is part of it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
maybe we didn't miss that part.
So we caught up everybody at the bottom of the hill and decided to come over to our neighborhood for Patty's in Toluca Lake. Thank you, Derek Whitacre, for driving that ship. I was like, well, Bob's has the parking. He's like, yeah, but Patty's is better breakfast, and it's right in our neighborhood. And I was like, well, that is really hard to argue with.
That's sound logic right there.
That's serious business.
How long are you in town?
We're here for the weekend, all the weekend festivities, and then we're heading back to Vegas.
So the
Plan
name,
anyway.
the name of this podcast was the Improv Show, Dare Improv Show,
Dare
mainly because we were at breakfast with you, and I said, "Hey, how long are you in town? Maybe could we like record on Monday?" And you're like, "I'm out of town, but what are you doing today?"
Well,
so
yeah,
that's
we
why
were
the
gonna
Friday
have-
show.
We were going to have a big dinner at the professor's place tonight, but because of the weather, he usually does it on his deck, and that's not happening. So
He
the
mentioned
afternoon
tomorrow
just kind
night.
of got
Big
It
deal.
was
Yeah,
nice
why
of you
not?
to
Yeah.
slide us in.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a dream come true.
Oh my gosh!
I've been dreaming of it for literally weeks.
Sure. Hilarious.
Ever since I saw D1. It's like one day I'll be as cool as him. Never happened.
Gosh,
Keep
that's
trying.
You should make a movie.
Yeah,
you
we
might
should
be
make
as
a
cool
movie.
as him.
That's a good plan. I want to make a movie about you guys.
Okay.
that would be cool.
Well, no, seriously.
Can we talk about you and your Fascination and
Sure,
and then get
yeah,
into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's your
So-
show.
well,
do whatever. Yeah,
I would love to.
I'm happy to
You
talk
are
about
our show today.
I would love to hear the praise you were about to bestow on us, but I figured I'd like people to know a little bit more about you first, and then it'll sound more legit when you
Validate
praise
the
us.
praise.
Yeah, there you go.
We're in the business.
So lie about how great we are.
Yeah.
okay, got
no,
it.
no, no. Your films are great. You're
Provide
incredibly.
some context.
Yeah, you're incredibly present in the Porsche community in Las Vegas and here in Southern California.
Yeah, it's fun to see people wearing the shirts, and seems like people actually like the films. I'd sure like to have a few more followers or subscribers, but
How can they
Where
find
are
you?
you?
yeah.
How
So
can they
you
find
can go
you?
to Fascination.com or find our channel on YouTube, of course, and on the InstaWebs and Grams and all those things.
Social media and
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah.
for your show.
Yeah. So basically, what we do is we made a series of films about the owners of classic Porsches, and you'll note that I said owners of
Oh,
classic
right.
Porsches.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make films about classic Porsches and their owners.
Mm.
We really try.
Differentiation.
Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of our mantra. We as we go out and the whole team, whenever we're asked about it, our mantras, we make films about the owners of classic Porsches, because it's the owners that make those cars interesting. It's the community, people like you, everyone that we meet. This is why we're into it. The cars are fantastic, and there's all these great things about the cars, but no kidding.
Right.
So it's the people that you wind up
awesome.
meeting and hanging out with, and that's nice of you to say that we're present in LA. You know, I don't live here, and it's cool to see that it's getting around.
You have a presence here, not just for people who know your films, but I mean, you're here. I see you a lot. I mean, you said nice to meet you, but we've been on runs
crossed
together.
paths
We just
many
haven't,
times,
you know,
yeah.
spent a tremendous amount of time together, like today.
Sure.
So you are here. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you realize it or not, you're fucking here.
We're trying to be. Well, this is the hub. This is the epicenter of Porsche culture. I mean, that's the thing. Vegas is there's a great little community there, but it's nothing compared to. And I'm actually from Seattle originally, and so I have a lot of ties to that community there. And it's again wonderful people. Most of my best friends I've met one way or another through the car community.
Okay.
But it just the sheer size and I mean, nothing compares to the LA car scene.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, because we have like the club thing alone. Like I'm sure that you guys. To me, it's a good awareness factor of like we have something crazy. Like so many regions in our one little area.
Right.
You guys must have something. I know you cover more ground in Vegas. You're
Not
part of-
really.
Geographically,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
probably similar, right?
Yeah, it's quite a bit smaller. I mean, well, I mean, maybe the total space, but the weird thing about Las Vegas is it's an island. It's surrounded by sand
time.
instead of water.
Yep.
There's just once you get to the
Right.
end of it, that's it. There's nothing else out there. So you've got that big
For
3.5
hundreds of
for
miles in
hundreds
every
of miles.
direction.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
the 3.5 hour gap between here and the next bit of civilization. 4 something hours to get down to Phoenix. So there's just nothing out there. So when you come here, there's just so many more people. Like we do a monthly car show in Las Vegas, in downtown Las Vegas.
Oh, you were telling us
Yeah.
about that. What's it called?
It's called Cars und Cafe. So it's cars and coffee, but Cars und Cafe because it's supposed to be for mostly air-cooled Porsches. But our Porsche community just really isn't big enough in Vegas. So we get great people show up every month. But it's a
the
lot of
same
special
crew.
year. Well, the cool thing is that I'm still surprised how many new people we see in Vegas. I think
That's
we've
awesome.
kind of maxed it out. I
Or
know
you
everybody.
at least know, you
Yeah.
know, oh, here's our audience, and that's everybody.
And that's it, yeah.
Right.
So we keep getting new people coming, and we
That's
open
right.
it up to just anything that's Euro and kind of special. But we kind of curate it so that the Porsches kind of get the main spot, and then everybody else kind of parks around.
How is your this is just sort of a sidebar question,
Sure.
but how is your ratio for air cooled, water cooled in Vegas? Because it's I mean it's an
Yeah.
extreme climate for
Yeah.
sure, whether it's 120 or whether it's 15.
Yeah. I mean, certainly the water cooled cars are way more. You see them more often just because they can handle the heat. The air cooled cars, once you start hitting those summer months,
Once
they
it gets to a
they get
certain
locked
point,
up.
yeah.
I mean, like I have a 993, and that car handles the heat pretty well, but the AC doesn't work for crap.
Sure, sure.
So it's like, all right, it's a convertible. And I'm an idiot driving around with that thing all the time, but
With the top down?
With the top, yeah. Well, it's funny because
Must have some sunburn.
the rain here, like the last 3-4 years, like coming to Luftgekühlt and all that stuff, the top on my 993 was vandalized like right when we moved down like 3 years ago. So I had a gaping hole like this big in it. And
Somebody like breaking. Were
somebody-
they just
they tried-
vandalization, or were they trying to steal something?
They were
from
trying to
inside?
steal something. So they
Cut.
tried to get in the front, and then they hit the metal thing in there, and then they went in the
Decided to go to a whole new
They
area.
to come in the back, and they got like a first gen iPad. Way to go.
Score.
Right,
Like
but
some cassettes.
it's so funny because I just didn't. Who cared? It was like whatever. I went to the insurance company and they paid me, but I never fixed it because the top was always down, and we would come out here for events, and that would be the only time that we come out. And I've got a professor run. What's it do? It rains, and now I got to put the top up, and there's a big hole in it. And then like
pictured
because
Harry
I just
Henderson's
didn't
or
care otherwise.
Tommy
But
Boy,
yeah,
any
it
of
was,
them.
and it was always like the Sunday going home, we would just hit massive rain squalls, and it would just
It's not even like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we got to pull over to put the top down. You pull under an underpass or
Yeah,
something. Like the
yeah.
moment you drive away, there's still holes in it.
yeah. Our buddy leaving Phoenix Club last year, he was in a 930. A mutual friend of Derek's and I. One of his other 930s, our friend Rami, has two 930 911s. He
Oh,
blew-
ice green. I know one of them.
Right.
Yep.
The ice green. So he blew up his black one at Targa Baja a couple of years ago. And then on the way back from Phoenix Club last year, from going back to Vegas, I think he lost a fuel pump or something, right in the middle of the worst rain squall I've ever seen. And we had gotten away with the whole weekend being the top down, no problem. And then he breaks, hey, come pick me up. And so we have to stop and get poured on. It was, yeah, thanks, Rami.
So wait, are you involved? He's got a show coming on
Yes.
now? Are you
Yeah.
involved in that as well?
I am. I'm the
And I still want to
director
talk about
and
how
writer
you were
and
going
all
to
that
praise
stuff,
us and do
yeah.
a video about us as well. But
What was that?
there's things that are important we got to get to,
I
obviously.
don't follow. I don't remember. any of that, no.
But he's a character. I mean, we met him on, I guess it was maybe the last Professor run that we all did. I think that's when we met him with that ice green one.
Yeah, it may have been.
But he's a character, and that was the first time I'd met him. And you guys said you were going to get, you were prepping a new show, or you were
Yeah.
pre-pro or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the deal?
It's shot. It's in the can. So we're in post-production right now. We're going to make a trailer and give it to the agent and hope he does his thing. And if it gets sold, great. If it doesn't, then we'll go kind of the way the new digital era, and we'll just publish ourselves and
self-produce, yeah.
do that whole thing. But we'll see what happens.
What's the format? Like, what should we be talking about it? That people
Yeah,
are
no,
looking
absolutely.
forward to it?
Yeah,
or-
you can go. There's a Facebook page that's about it. There's a website too, the Rami Show.
But there's I think I saw a trailer too
There's
somewhere,
a
right?
tease.
Yo,
There's
teaser.
A
spell it out.
super tease. It is the show is
R-A.
about ROMI. Yeah.
See, yeah,
The
spell it out.
Rami Show. Yeah, Rami is the guy's name, so not Romy like Romy and Michelle, but Rami.
And you have not done a video on him yet, right?
No, we
so
have.
we don't
He
know
is-
him. Oh, we
he
do know
is
him.
in Fascination. He is Duty Brown.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so he has the 74. His video, his
It was
film
a different
has-
car.
He has two cars. Yeah, well, he has
Sure,
18
but I mean,
cars. Yeah.
That's
Almost
enough to
all
have
of
a
them are
show, for
Porsches.
God's
yeah,
sake.
He's a maniac. But his show is about basically a guy with too much money.
can I cut you off for a
Yeah.
second? It's important.
No.
Whoops, we've
Look at that.
All right, Rami
Very
Show, go
nice.
ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
back to the Rami Show. All right, see you, Kitty. Yeah, well, so Rami's this big character, and we basically set the show up. It's about a guy with too much money, his buddy, challenging some asshole from the internet. It's like a game show to a Top Gear style challenge.
Oh, wow. That's actually fun.
Yeah.
great.
So the premise of the first show is who can, using a German car with the engine in the rear, transport from the Mandarin Hotel on the Strip in Las Vegas to the Pioneer Saloon out in the middle of the desert 50 miles away. Who can get 4 strippers there the fastest?
Oh, so now we're talking about multiple trips potentially.
Right. Which
Oh,
car
the
do you
cow,
go? Do you
there's a
take the
lot of
fast
variables.
one, multiple trips, or
There's
do
so
you
many
take
variables.
one car that's
Can you
slower?
put them
but
all in one car?
you can.
If
If you can find a rear-engine German
But you
car
gotta
that'll
find
fit
it
them.
that will fit 4 strippers. Yeah, and shenanigans ensue. The greatest, the real,
Oh, I love shenanigans.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this show is the fact that none of us have any idea how to fucking do this.
Awesome.
So
Oh,
I
you
think
mean
that's,
throughout you kind of it's made clear that you don't know what you're doing?
we don't know what
Oh,
we're doing.
I love it. I love it.
It's like the Amazing Race without
the
a
best.
producer.
Yeah, I mean, we literally drop a car from a
Vegas.
helicopter.
Oh.
And
Top Gear style.
Yeah, and blow it up and everything. And, you know, we have this moment where it's like,
Spoilers.
yeah,
Yes.
whatever. Who cares? That's one of a gajillion moments of this. The helicopter pilot had one job: drop it on this side of the mountain so we can film it.
No good.
Did that not happen?
You
Dropped
missed
it
it.
on the other side of the mountain. Rami's like, that was
I thought you meant my left.
exactly. He's like, I think that was $30,000. Just
What kind of car
on the
was it?
Other side
Oh,
of
you
the
can't tell
mountain.
that
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, I'll let you.
Okay.
You'll have to wait for
Fabulous.
this.
Good
Yeah.
for you. Good.
Yeah, we sent the German guy to go get explosives. He was terrified that he was going to get arrested. And
This sounds
awesome.
like it sounds
This is
like
so-
the Cannonball
yeah.
meets Mythbusters.
it is, yeah. It does have kind of a MythBusters thing because we got things blowing up. But MythBusters was very safe. They always had safety equipment.
They talked
and
about it.
plexiglass and
Well,
all that stuff,
yeah.
and we're just like, how much kerosene to explosives? What's the ratio?
Well, 'cause you're-
let's blow one up first and see if we don't die. Yep, okay, and then okay, that explosion was pretty good. Let's make it twice as big, so 3 times more. That probably won't make the helicopter crash because when it blew up, the stuff's going everywhere, and the helicopter pilot had to like just
avert.
pull on the stick because things were coming. I was like, we've got debris, and
Wow.
Holy shit!
just I'm sure we
Can't
were
wait to see your movie,
breaking.
man.
I can't wait to see the gag reel.
Yeah, it was. Well, Rami's big thing when we were first coming up with the show, he's like, so can we drop a car out of an airplane? And
Oh, like a cargo style? Like
right,
out the back,
exactly. Like
yeah.
what is it, C-140 or something?
Sure, sure.
And then can we jump out of another airplane
Ooh, get in the car.
and shoot at the one that's following? And I'm just like,
Shoot at it.
you guys are producers, you know. I'm just like,
I thought we were going to try to get to it. and,
yeah, I'm like, no,
No.
no, we can't. Like, sure, we can. So, anyways,
especially for
Rami Show coming this
especially for a group of people
Yeah.
who said, you know, unlike Mythbusters, we are unsafe and don't know what we're doing.
yeah, we
So just do it.
I don't know if MythBusters knew what they were doing or not, but we are making no illusion. They pretend they're like, hey, we're experts.
We're friends
We're
with
not
most,
experts at
We're
all.
friends with most of the Mythbusters, and
Yeah.
they're first of all, they're all individually and collectively incredibly intelligent human beings. I think by the fact that that show was such a success and a hit legally and liability wise, they had to be sure that they were
I would
good and
imagine.
Yeah.
protected at what
Yeah,
they were doing,
of
because
course.
we had conversations with Tori about, I think we can say this because everybody knows about it, but about
Mm-hmm.
the Cannonball incident and stuff. And you know, we all heard about it and shit. I was like, but that one day we were in Venice at James Beach having brunch after your birthday. Actually, it was
Yeah.
a birthday night. We all went out, and somehow it came up. Somebody asked, and then it got kind of serious, and everything sort of got. You know, there was a moment. The air got heavy, and I was like, yeah, but that wasn't you, right? Because I thought it was Jamie and Adam, the other guys, and he's like, I lit the fuse. Like it was, yeah, it was me, and I don't know, whatever.
The
Yeah.
Mythbusters,
yeah,
they had a
blew
rogue cannonball went through a house or something. They went through all of their proper stuff. They're out in the middle of their the airfield wherever they test at the marine base or whatever that stuff is. They were doing all of their normal stuff, but for some reason, just calculations.
The
life
sheer
happens and
number
shit's
of
random and
crazy
chaos
stuff that
effect.
they did
Chaos
eventually.
effect. It went out of whatever
Something
their
had to
region
go. I
was.
think
Yeah,
it went
I mean, at
too
some
long.
point,
Into a house.
yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
sure,
If you blow 1,000 things up,
something.
at
Shit,
some
it's a
point,
numbers game.
Right,
There you
yeah.
go.
It's like if you run at an intersection, what is it like? You can run a 4-way stop
How many times?
398 times.
There you go.
On average.
There you go.
Just
Yeah, it's a
there's the number. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I didn't mean to get
at
into
some
that
point,
whole
your
thing.
cannonball's going to go through someone's house.
I love that. It's a numbers game.
Hey.
Well,
But
and you will talk about it because
we did not drop the Porsche on anyone's house. It did hit the
Hey.
There you
it
go.
hit the wrong mountain, but at least it was a mountain.
That's a really good step in the right direction.
Hey, we get 1 out of 2 things right.
So the Romy show, and then what about a yellow car episode? I said that sort of joking
Yes.
to you at breakfast
Well,
today.
yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. How it's the people. We get constantly people coming up to us asking, hey, when are new episodes coming out? And you've got to do an episode about my car. It's so great.
yeah,
I
so
did all
and so.
these things, and I mean, they will. God bless them. They're great. I mean, I love all enthusiasts. If you're into your car this much, it's so cool. But they'll hand me a one sheet with all the specs and all the things they did, or leaflets or whatever. And that's all great, but I'm like,
None of it matters.
tell me about you. And then they look at you like, well, what do you mean? I made that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I
give me a
love
little
all
more
of
than that.
it.
That's why
Did
you
you get
need
this car
this.
from your dad, or
What's the
Yeah.
sales pitch?
or is it? Did you win the lotto? Or I mean,
Have you
what's
wanted
the-
one your
what
whole
the
life?
hell?
What's the
deal?
story?
Right, exactly. What got you here? And not all of our films are just totally about the people, but some of them lean a little bit more about the machine. But I think the ones that people like the most are the ones that are about the people.
Well, you just, I mean, flat out your branding, what you stand behind is the fascination behind, in this case, the brand or the love for Porsche. So, I mean, just sort of, you're wearing what you are. I mean, you're telling people right out there what you
people
are.
That.
Wow.
I went full tilt.
Wow.
That was kinda
Holy cow.
Crazy. Yeah. It's art, man. It's
It
art.
is art.
I love it. Yeah.
It's just whatever.
Love it.
And then
Even if
should
it
we-
never went anywhere, I was just like, I was so happy when the first batch of films were done. It's like,
That's
"Ah,
so
screw it, we're gonna-"
cool.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I love that passion.
It's fun.
That's what it's all about to me.
Yeah, and I don't know why you would say, even if they didn't go anywhere. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was the whole point. I make a living making commercials, and I originally what got me started doing this is obviously we're all fans of Petrolicious. You guys,
Sure.
everybody loves Petrolicious,
Of course.
and
We feel lucky to be local.
right, yeah. And I had
Go to the
actually
shop and
gotten a
stuff.
contract with those guys to make films for them.
Oh.
And I reached out to them and had a conversation. They're like, "Oh yeah, great, let's get you together." And I was all excited about it. And the money's terrible. Not that that's just
It's a creative outlet.
I mean, it's not about that. So that's why I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. This is just gonna be something that's not a commercial. All actually something I'm passionate about. And the first film I made was just awful. I just completely phoned it in. It was bad.
Oh.
I sent it to him.
Why?
It was,
Why? Just you were not into it, or was something going
no,
on at
I
the
was
time?
into
or-
it, but there was a bunch. I think the story was okay, but it was just I didn't film it when I filmed it. It was actually a film that I did up in Seattle, and I was on a business trip, and I kind of fitted in between doing other stuff, so I wasn't really focused. I kind of was like, I got this.
Good for you for being honest about that.
Yeah,
though.
it was totally. They rejected it, and I felt bad. I felt pretty shitty at that second. Like, oh man, how the hell did I screw that up? The hell am I professional? And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is crap. So I redid it, and when I redid it, that's when I started talking to some of my partners, and we decided to just make our own.
Good for you.
And
That's awesome.
Who are your
And you love
partners?
it.
How does this? I don't know about this.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't.
Well, you're affiliated with Gowden Porsche in some
Yeah,
way?
Gowden Porsche of Las Vegas and Gowden Classic specifically is now our sponsor.
Oh, okay.
But
Were those the people that were at breakfast as well? Because we met some
Today?
people from Gowden today at
yeah,
breakfast.
yeah. Michael Deeb, he's the Gowden Classic manager from Gowden Classic. So he was there
In the
with his
RS
wife.
America,
In the
right?
RS America, yeah, and that's his car. So
And Esther? Was it
Esther, correct? Yeah.
Very nice
Fantastic.
people.
So
Fantastic.
Very,
They were
very
really
nice
Yeah.
people.
fun.
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone
Very
at
welcome.
that dealership is just unbelievably great. They were involved in the first series, but I mean the crazy leap of faith that those guys took to get behind us. 'Cause
Yeah?
they had no idea what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah, and you didn't show them your Petrolicious video,
Right.
obviously.
Well, I showed them the redone version. They're like, hey,
Oh,
that's pretty
okay,
good.
okay.
I was like, I don't want to give this away at this point. So they're like, all right. So, but yeah, Paul Jarrett, who is, I mean, he's been our biggest supporter, and he just made this whole thing happen.
That's right.
So without getting into all the intricacies of how that got funded or whatever, but yeah, so we wound up making the first 16 films for season 1 and published them. And
That's awesome.
Season 2 is about to come out.
When is there a date? Is there a drop date? Because
We
we're
haven't-
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be in April. That's the target. It's sometime
good,
in April.
soon.
Yeah, very
Great.
soon. Yeah.
Around Liftcult, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, we were thinking, like, do we do it the same weekend? Do we do it the following weekend? We might do an event in Vegas, so we don't want to compete with Lift Cult, so maybe it'd be a little later, a little further before. I'm not sure yet.
We told the story when the professor was here, but I first found out about you guys when I was working the Liftcult event last year, just volunteering, and we were staging cars in the VIP lot, whatever. And quiet,
Derek.
seriously,
Honestly,
rude.
really?
Hashtag rude. He's phlegmy. Oh my god.
No.
You putting on ointment again?
Oh
We
my
uh,
God.
man likes to
The other
stay
guy, that was the
lubricated.
other guy.
I was working that event, and I had just gotten to my post because it was first thing in the morning. We were all there, 5 in the morning or whatever. And somewhere around 6:30, one of the first car to park in that VIP lot arrived on a flatbed, and I showed a picture of it and the whole bit, and it was the Derek 2's car that we were talking about earlier from the day before the professor run, etc. But it arrived with
Disaster run, yeah.
It arrived with a professor run sticker on
Yeah.
it, so that's how I found out about the professor and then did my research there. But more importantly, a half an hour later or so, you showed up with all of this awesome swag, and I was like, well, what the hell is this? And you started telling me what it was about, and I was like, well, gee, we're actually working on something similar. This sounds so cool. Maybe we can collaborate, get together someday. Now we're finally
are.
sitting here together.
A year later, just under, right on.
I want to work with you on something, whether it's,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a video for us or if it's something else,
Well,
but
I mean,
we should totally work together at some
I
point.
agree. I think you guys are building an amazing community here in just such a short amount of time. You've already amassed a bunch of followers and people are talking about it. And I mean, the Breakfast Club thing was something that I was just hyping to everybody. I'm like, oh, you got to go to this Breakfast Club. And they're like, oh, yeah, what's it like? I'm like, but you got to go. I'm sure it's going to be really cool.
I hope it's
So yeah, no, it's been fantastic, but again, that's all part of the culture that happens here, and I think that the reason why you guys have a Porsche is exactly the kind of thing that we want to make films about.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not the car. Technically, your car is not a classic Porsche Classic TM's version of a classic.
Right. A couple more years.
A few more years, yeah. The 997. Yeah, when was the last 997? Anyone?
9? Oh,
12,
right.
probably,
Yeah,
yeah,
9
12.
is the other. Yeah, right.
So we've got it's got to
Couple
be
years.
it's got to be 10 years for the line to be out of production for it to be technically a Porsche Classic TM
So
classic.
glad you explained that. I had
Right,
no
and we have, of
idea.
course, the one of the first
last-
ones ever made.
Right, yeah, but it's not about the first year it was made. It's
Of
about
course.
the last year. Right?
That's what I'm saying, so
important
we have to
distinction,
wait the
'cause,
longer.
Yeah,
Back
you were like, oh, mine's an 06. It's more.
But when
like,
it's when it becomes a Porsche classic, our car
Yeah.
will legitimately
Yeah.
almost become a classic. You know what I mean? By the time
sure, for sure. In season 2, we have Carrera GT, which they only made in 2005 and 6, I think.
So is that just because it's sort of a specialty car?
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's a classic because last year was 6, so
Oh,
well
right.
over 10
Year,
years.
that's
It's
it.
technically a classic. So, yeah. So
So we can't do a video anyway.
I don't care because at the end of the day, it's not like that's the focus is classic cars, but who cares?
Our story
It's
is
the story,
amazing, and
I wanted to hear him say it.
Yeah, right.
I'm the queen of putting my foot in my
I'm
mouth.
just
You
gonna-
should redo
No,
what
I'm
I
totally
just said.
kidding.
Give
I'm
you
so
the
joking.
camera and go do it.
Yeah, thanks. So well done.
I love it.
That's what
That
I
would
do.
actually, I would love it if you guys should guest direct one.
I'd love that.
We should have some more contributors. See, that's
Wouldn't
how
that be
Petrolicious
fun?
does it. Is that they have multiple contributors. It's not one guy making all the films for
Yeah.
Petrolicious. Their Fascination is people are always asking, how come you have one season? How come it's taking so darn long? It's like
It's kind of nice to have a continuity, though.
Yeah, right.
Whether
and
you
that's-
like it or not, it's nice to have continuity. Just
Yeah.
in that what you see is what you get.
And the films are mostly part. Again, I think part of the reason why we did them in the first place, I wanted to make films about my friends. It was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna do these things for Petrolicious, that means I can have all my friends on Petrolicious. Cool, let's do that. So I figured, screw it, we'll just do our own.
Yeah.
And have all our friends on there. So
it's been-
consequently, we've made all these new friends, and it's pretty cool.
But you were talking about in a short amount of time. This also is less than a year because
Yeah.
I first found out about you at the Lifka Cult thing.
Yeah.
But that's also when you launched, right?
Yeah, season 1 launched in March of last year, but it took almost a year to make all those films. So
Sure.
yeah. I mean, so yes, it actually was published at that point.
But as far as
holy
what
cow.
anyone else know, I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about amassing, just buzz in general.
Right.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been
Yeah.
working on shit, but nobody knew that.
Right. Yeah. We were completely off the grid. No one had any clue that we existed until March when we put it out there.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's very cool.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
No,
I refuse.
No, I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm sure.
We
I'm
both,
sure
we
it was,
both, we
yeah.
both made the I'm going to talk
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
and then
no,
that was
you're.
it.
We're gonna have. No, you guys will be the first new contributor. What's that? We are going to relaunch season 1 just before
Smart.
season 2.
Cool.
We're going to announce that Godden Classic is the official sponsor, so we're going to tag all the original films, because even though they're the ones that have been behind this whole thing, their names aren't on the original films.
Right.
And to their credit, we could have done that in the first place, but they were like, hey, look, we want this thing to launch.
See how it goes.
And it wasn't that they were scared of being attached to something that like would fail miserably. It was like more like
They
we
didn't have
wanted
the
to
ego.
make sure it looks legit. They didn't want people to think it was just, oh, these are just some videos from some car dealership.
Right.
So I mean, that
If
was
it comes
really
across as
cool of them to
salesy,
be able- yeah, exactly.
Then people are out.
Right, and that
You lose the art.
We did make that's another thing that we're going to launch here when we launch the first season before the second season. Is we made 4 or 5 films about cars that they actually had in inventory.
Interesting.
And we had Paul, who I talked about earlier, talk about those cars in a way that was completely, again, it wasn't like, okay, here's an 89 Speedster, come buy it. It was just 89 Speedsters are awesome, and you're going to just, if you ever get a chance to drive one of these, you're going to fall in love with it. It's just the most amazing thing. This is why people buy Porsches. And we had him driving around. He was really like the owner of that car, but it was never like, we have this here for sale. It was never come and get one, or we have all the classics. None of that stuff. It was just a passionate guy. Paul is an enthusiast like all of us, and you can just see it. He's just, even though he didn't own that car, you would have thought he did. So he
He loves
Passion,
it that
man.
much.
yeah. So we're gonna launch now that it's official that Godden is our one of our partners. We're gonna launch those 4 films. That'll be kind of like an interim season before we launch season 2.
Just through your website or their website?
They'll always go on the Fascination site first,
Okay.
and then we'll also publish them on other platforms. Facebook has a new video platform now, so we're going to be
Can we talk
publishing
about
there.
that? What are you going to do? Are you buying into that? I don't know what to do. Whether we should jump on it or not.
I don't see any reason why not. I don't know.
But
if
would you
could-
do that as well as YouTube and everything?
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
do just
it's
plaster it
it's an
everywhere?
aggregate, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if your model is okay. We want to get X amount of views and try to monetize that. That's just silly. I don't think there's any way to really monetize that in a way that's actually going to make anything profitable. Because you get 1 million views. What is that? $1,000 or something?
Oh,
like that.
maybe not even.
You know,
Yeah,
not
it's
even-
weird when
it's
you
just
get down to it.
ridiculous. The numbers are just so. If that's your plan to make a living, it's a tough road. What you really do is you got to get sponsors,
Right.
And I think that
Read ad reads and things like
yeah,
that.
you get exactly. I mean, having stuff in the background and product placement and that kind of stuff.
That's
I
why we
think
did.
makes
That's
it-
what,
yeah.
That's exactly why we
Yeah.
did this here.
Yeah.
Because when they went out of business before we did that. But
Well, there's a poster I think someone gave you that has a brand on it that maybe you've heard of. It would look really good back there.
Truthfully,
That might
I
cross promote.
the truth is, I chose this poster. Well, the poster actually. I should talk about this actually. This picture came from Studio 60, which was a
Television show.
Aaron Sorkin television drama. It was in Matthew Perry's office on the show, both of these. But we chose it because we figured, we probably can clear that because they're no longer in business.
Right, yeah.
If at some point this does get monetized, which is
Yeah.
obviously the goal,
Yeah.
we thought, it's clear.
Yeah, good job.
There
It's
it
fun talking to people that know what clearance is, even though that is the least interesting part of the business. But music
affects
clearance and all
everything.
that stuff is just, yeah.
You spend enough time. Well, you're a producer. You
I'm a
spend enough
producer,
time as
yeah.
a producer or in production. You realize
Yeah.
that you can't do anything without paying for it.
Yep, yep. So no, I really love that you guys are doing this. I love how genuine you guys are coming across. My wife came in and was like, what are you watching? Who are these people? What are they?
Were you watching on
Are you-
television or an
No,
iPad?
I have a big
Oh, you're like
studio
an
at
editor's
home. Yeah,
suite
one
or
of my
whatever.
editing suite, and I was just like in between something, and I had one of yours on. I can't remember which one, but it was one that it was just the two of you.
Oh, cool.
And there was like a moment going on.
Oh,
and she's
I
going
hope
just
so.
like, are you suggesting that we need couples therapy? What are you doing here? What is happening? Who are these people? Are you trying to?
And why are you taking their advice or whatever?
What's going on? So I was like, I don't know. I think we need to go down there and hang out with them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll bring her by.
Yeah, no, you will. Come to Vegas.
We will. We totally will.
Hang out.
Let's see. We're going to see you more this weekend because
Yeah.
tomorrow morning we've got the Professor run.
Hopefully that will be not as disastrous as previous.
Hopefully.
Good
Once.
grief. I hope not.
We're going to Malibu.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any boulders. And what am I talking about? It's the
Yeah,
land,
what
of,
are you
land
talking
of
about?
landslides, right? Even that's where
Nerd.
landslides are.
Nuts, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got the lit show after that.
Yeah.
And then you head back on Wednesday or on Sunday. But what is your next plan to come to LA? Let's put something together so that we
I'm
can
sure
actually.
we'll be back for Luftkult. I'm not sure. What is that? The 23rd of April. So that's basically
pretty
another
soon, in a month or so.
A month away. Yeah. So we'll be back for that. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be here for that weekend.
Well, let's keep in touch,
Yeah,
and if
for
we can
sure.
put something together at the
Yeah.
same time, great. If
Yeah.
not, no worries. But I mean, let's
Absolutely.
keep our creative
Yeah,
juices flowing.
I mean, yeah, we should be talking in between, and then it's the making a film with you guys would be fantastic. Whether or not it becomes season 2 or part of season 3 or whatever, we just kind of fit it in.
Well,
Just
whatever.
make it happen.
Whatever you want. I mean,
I'm in.
Yeah, you're
Let's do
awesome, and if we can work together on something,
Because
that'd be
of
fun.
you. You're awesome.
Well, and I want to be more like
Derek.
Derek Whitacre, whichever.
Everybody, that's the whole reason
doesn't
any of
wanna
us
be
are in the
like
room.
Derek?
We're like, let's be like
I
that
want my
guy.
own I want my own video, and I want my own poster.
Man,
Not really, but that
Yeah,
post, and we should talk about that. Actually, you guys talk about it. I'll go get it.
You guys showed up with a really cool gift for Derek today. You did.
yeah,
right?
all the first season films, we had a custom movie poster made for each film.
Really neat.
Thank you. I'm incredibly proud of them. Not that I designed them. An amazingly talented artist, Israel Hernandez, made those. And they're all derived from a still from the movie, and then he custom illustrated
So
them.
neat. Is he in Vegas too?
He actually lives in Mazatlan now.
Where is that?
Yeah, that's a whole other, Mexico world
Oh,
thing.
my.
Yeah, he moved down there.
That's rad.
But yeah, he is an amazing artist, also a Porsche enthusiast. Israel is the car that DT Derek 2 was avoiding hitting when he crashed. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh,
This there is you the go. poster Derek for
Whitacre
Derek.
is holding a
Episode.
photo
Yeah.
of his car.
Yeah. And there's Israel's signature down there.
Oh my
These will be available on the website soon. We've been saying that for months, but now that's actually going to happen. They're limited edition. They're printed by our friend Alex up in Portland. Did an
I
amazing
should say,
job.
and I'm not. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
The printing is maybe one of the most impressive parts. The artwork is
you.
fantastic. I mean, the whole thing is great.
Yeah.
But when I actually pulled it out and like the quality of the paper and then the ink work on
Yeah.
the paper is stunning.
Thank you.
Stunning.
Thank
So
you. Yeah,
anybody
I
who-
think everyone that
highly
had anything
recommend
to do
buying.
with those really knocked it out of the park.
They're
I'd
beautiful.
like to take credit for any of it, but I'm just a stupid filmmaker. I can't do any of the technical cool stuff like that.
Hi, Derek. What'd you do? Nudge it?
I'm sorry, I didn't bump it.
Oh, who cares?
And I do love your studio too. I love walking in here as a filmmaker, as an indie filmmaker at heart, because you guys are in Hollywood.
Yeah.
People make this is what people do. I'm like this weird filmmaker, like that's on kind of like the outskirts.
What
of
do you mean? Oh, just
filmmaking.
because you're in Vegas?
Not even that. Yeah, I mean,
You're a
Vegas and
commercial
Seattle.
producer,
I'm this
director.
But that's the thing. I've been making commercials. I don't make movies.
Oh,
I don't.
well,
I'm not in LA, and it's a different world outside of that. So I've always been that indie guy, indie filmmaker at heart, and I love coming in here seeing this setup because it's so indie and it so rocks and it so works. And
Oh, thanks, man.
It's
What's
great. I
a
love it.
dining room turned studio,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, you
it's
just
great.
need some lights and some sound panels and.
Some old phones and good to go. Yeah.
Did you were you talking about that phone over there before? Or?
I can't tell one phone from another.
Oh,
but,
the
yeah,
old
no,
the old
phone.
iPhones. Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the set.
The dial-up phone.
Well, the funny thing, no, I was just going to bring it up because that phone specifically, no, but that phone specifically, I was going to bring it up, is from, did you ever watch All in the Family?
I did, yeah.
That's the phone
No
from All in the
kidding.
Family. There was only ever one. Remember, it had the chair over the corner by the
Wow.
staircase? That's the actual phone from All in
just
the
touched
Family.
it.
Yeah, I bought it at an auction years ago. It came with a little thing and the whole bit.
It was sticky.
I just thought it was neat. I was like,
That
it
last
wasn't
guy
that
was in
expensive,
here
and I thought it was so
must
cool.
have touched it.
You're a riot. All right, gosh. All right, well, you're going to come back, and we're going to talk more.
That'd be
So,
great.
and we're going to do something together. And this was fun. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for inviting us last
On
So
minute.
glad.
Yeah, it just
Improv
worked
last
out.
minute.
Yeah, that was cool.
Derek Whitacre being a stagehand and an audience member and everything.
I just want to say thanks to everyone this morning because it was an awesome, really cool.
Yeah.
Like no one had to be handheld. It was no bullshit, no big deal. Like
No
we're
drama.
just going, no drama.
There were so many things that went wrong, and yet no drama. Just a
And
bunch of
it
people
was
who could
so
handle
much
themselves.
fun. So much fun. So
That's what's
and
cool
you
about the
guys
community.
are a big part of that because you're not even from here, and you're just like, sure, let's turn around.
We're here to
Thanks.
meet you guys and hang out and do fun stuff. And who cares where it is? It's
Well,
always
it
worth
was
the people.
awesome.
It's not
Yeah.
the restaurants, the people, right? Or the cars or any of those things.
You're
Yeah.
awesome, dude. We love you. You're
Thanks
in the
for having me.
family. For
Let's do it.
real.
This thing on?
This thing is on. I love that you did that for a million reasons. I'll tell you about someday. Derek Whitacre, thank you for being here.
You were a great.
Good to
great
see you,
poster model.
as always. And Mrs. Ryan, I love you so much. We love the rest of you. And before we go,
Uh-oh.
kitty butt, kitty butt. All right, everybody, have a great
See you
weekend,
later.
and we will talk to you Monday. I think that's every time.
The cat's gonna be the cat's gonna like switch to some porn. He's gonna like